So, if I said I would give you a name earlier, please re-raise your hand in chat so I know who to give the names to. Can I just highlight for a second, right? This is a human commander zombie. Intelligent zombie, but zombie. They're covered in human frozen pus. All right, so you wanted an armor weaponsmith? Got it. Let's see. I got an armorer who's taken by Snail. I got a couple furnace operators and a metal crafter. So I'll give you this this furnace operator and give you weaponsmithing. She feels euphoric due to inebriation, but was embarrassed after sleeping without a proper room. She felt fondness when speaking with an acquaintance and was bored after being unable to practice craft for too long. She was afraid after reliving experiencing trauma, and the trauma that she saw was she saw a troglodyte die. Well, okay. She's 83 years old, born on the 12th of Galena in the year 133. She has incredible muscles and a broad body, and a very broad chin. Her hair is clean shaven and her nose bridge is convex. Her eyelashes are short and her brass eyes are slightly sunken. Or slightly wide set, not sunken. And her cinnamon skin is slightly wrinkled and her somewhat short ears have are broad and her hair is pale taupe and with a touch of gray. She's incredibly tough and quick to heal and very agile. She personally believes that the time taken to master skills is a horrible waste and doesn't feel strongly about the law, dreams of raising a family. She is very polite and observes the appropriate rules of decorum when possible, and she rarely feels discouraged, and she tends to avoid any physical confrontations. She works to square this natural tendency with her respective martial prowess, and she has a sense of duty. And she tends to make a small mess with her own possessions. She is not inherently proud of her talents and accomplishments, and she tends to not be swayed by emotional appeals, and doesn't mind a little tumult and discord in day-to-day living. She does not often feel lustful, and she occasionally overindulges, and she isn't given to flights of fancy, and she inhales sharply when she's angry and needs alcohol to get through the working day, and is getting used to tragedy. Welcome back. They're stupid. We just had lunch, so. Yeah, they're kind of fantastic, aren't they? The dwarf description is one of the best parts of Dwarf Fort. As always, if anybody else wants, I think Darren wanted a dwarf, but let me know what you want, and then I can get you named. Also, Rakus the Stoneworker has created Latizik, a lignite figurine of dwarves, and claims it as an heirloom in the name of the family ancestor, Logum Smooth Paddles. The Sorcerer of Fingers. It's worth 15,600 Zethal. This is a lignite figurine of dwarves. All craftsmanship is of the highest quality. On the item is a masterfully designed image of dwarves in lignite by Rakus. The dwarves are traveling. The artwork relates to the foundation of Threatdweller by the ancient beard of the Plank of Nations in the early spring of 212. It is studded with copper and decorated with wombat leather and encircled with bands of round lignite cabochons and crundled bone. This object is adorned with hanging rings of jabberer leather and menaces with spikes of lignite. On the item is an image of Thob Punchchor, the dwarf in citrine. Yeah, you know, honestly, it's the reason I'm kind of, people call me crazy for feeling this way, but it's the reason I'm kind of sad that in the premium version, everything is getting just kind of condensed into, everything is getting condensed into one screen, which is a lot more logical, makes a lot more sense, and it's a good thing they're going that route with it. But man, it makes me sad because I like the big, scary-looking wall of text. I'm gonna miss the big, scary-looking wall of text. You know what I mean? I'm gonna miss that. It's for the best, but I'm still gonna miss it. Also, it's not quite 10 pages of stuff. It's like a screen and a half. It's really not that ridiculous. People overreact when they see letters and words. It's like, oh God, I'm allergic to reading. Meanwhile, I'm over here just like, pardon? Excuse me? Let's get this thing set. Also, chat room, I just want to say a real quick thank you to everybody tuning in today. You know, at the end of the day, I get to stream Dwarf Fortress full-time, more or less, as well as other games that I'm interested in. Very privileged position to be in. So thanks for letting me have this job, chat. I wouldn't have this job if it wasn't for people who watched. Also, hair's still supposed to be down, so put that back down. Put my hair up while I eat, because it's easier. All right. Are all of these assigned? No, they're not. All right. Do you even have fishing as an occupation? You do. I'm gonna remove that occupation and give you like metal crafting or something. Dwarf is forging copper battle axes. I have a question. Can you? You can make adamantine anvils? Huh. Today I learned. I didn't know that. I just had like this thought. I was like, can you make anvils out of adamantine? Apparently you can. Would you look at that? I literally had no idea. The more you know, I suppose. Olova Blossom Snakes wishes to join the Ancient Beard as a citizen of Threatdweller. This is the one that dreams of bathing the world in chaos.
Crypt Sappy, thanks for 45 months of excellent streams, Crypt Burr.
Thank you for being the first notification of money in 3 hours. Yesterday was kind of crazy. That's fine. But seriously, thank you very much for the 45th month. Lump, welcome back, dude. Excellent streams and hopefully a slightly above average YouTube content. Cheers, my dude. Chat, can I get a big round of beers for Lump keeping that Prime sub alive for a ridiculously long period of time? Chat, what do you think? Do we let this elf that dreams of bathing the world in chaos join our fortress? $45 months? Just wait until you see a 61 month. Although, there are people who have supported this channel financially for over 100 months. I can tell you that for fact. Because there's some people that who are still subscribed to me on Twitch that were like subbed through various other platforms before I had a sub button. Sure. Elf join fort. Like, when I say that I've been doing this a while, I literally mean this will be year 9. But if I were to count the entire time I've streamed in its entirety, I'd be in year 11 because I took some breaks early on. I've been doing this for a long time. And the other elf, Thalu, also wishes to join. Yeah, well, I mean, when did you follow me, Lump? You followed me in 2018? I mean, just, like, offhand, looking at chat. I mean, Bastet followed me in 2017. There's a Ghanaians 27. There's a few 2017s in chat right now. So and like my mod who was here earlier, King the Space Disco Fox, has been following me since like 2015, I think. Like, yeah, no, I've been around. If you click on your username, it'll tell you when you followed. I don't have a command for it though. I could make one, but I don't see the reason. Hey, Elkas, how thing? But welcome back to the Plank of Nations. May 5th, 2017. Yep. Yeah, I don't know. I'm one of those people who, when I say back in my day, I can actually like kind of say that in relation to Twitch, because like my favorite like perspective of how much Twitch has changed and how much bigger things have gotten that I love to tell people and remind people is the first TwitchCon I went to, which was in 2016. There was about 10,000 tickets sold. Okay, so there was about 10,000 people there. It was very small. By the end of it, you basically recognized every single person you walked past in the hallway, even if you didn't like know them, right? You recognized everybody that was there pretty much. The last TwitchCon I went to, which was in 2019, 250,000 people showed up and they sold 160,000 tickets. They sold 160,000 tickets, the show sold out, and 250,000 people were in the city for the event. Twitch has gotten a little bit bigger. In my time on Twitch. Ooh. This dwarf came from that very wet fort that I had. Followed by a fisher dwarf. Who also came from that spot, which makes sense because they're a fisher dwarf. But yeah, no, when it comes to Twitch, yeah, I'm pretty fucking old. Like, I'm 28. I started streaming when I was 8. The first stream I ever did, I was 18. So. But I've been making content in some way, shape, or form since I was like 15. I don't miss Owned 3D just because of how much money they still owe people. Fun fact, did you know that Owned 3D, somebody bought the rights to that name and they sell like if you go to owned3d.tv or own3d.tv now, they'll sell you like overlays for your stream. They're one of those art peddlers. There's always interesting jumping sites. Yeah, no, I mean, I watch some streamers on Twitch, like, actively now that I found initially on Owned. Back when that was a streaming site. That was, like, worse than Mixer's closed down. At least Mixer offered people a way out. Like, I still watch VMan7, who started on Owned. I like Twitch's interface now. I didn't like Twitch's original interface. But yeah, I still watch VMan. He still streams. Not a ton, but he still streams. Still streams like 4 times a week. But he never bullshitted how he felt. He's very salty still, but he almost never talks on his streams now. He's a very quiet streamer. Like, he'll go like an hour without saying anything. He'll just type in Twitch chat if people ask him questions. It's kind of interesting. It's a very old school way of doing things. Remember donating him $80 to shave a V in his chest hair? Yeah, he keeps his shirt on now, too. Miss that guy. Miss the shirtless V-Man, but you could go be one of those people who goes, oh my god, V-Man! I haven't watched you in like a decade, which is like half of his chat these days. When was he last on? Yeah, he streamed some Lost Ark 2 days ago. Yeah, he streams like every other day, pretty much. Streams League of Legends and Lost Ark these days. And I have a 56-month resub anniversary. Let's do all this. I think this is your time you caught, like, the end of Justin or so. I need to give you a dwarf, correct? And you wanted a fisher dwarf? I have a few different fisher dwarves. So I'm just going to... Oh, well, this one killed the Jabberer. Just gonna quickly give you Alphon. He's afraid after... He's interested after watching a performance and afraid after reliving experiencing trauma. 65 years old, only a few years off of being 60 nice, and is a citizen of the Plank of Nations. Personally thinks that there is something deeply wrong with people that persevere through adversity, respects the development of a skill and values loyalty, and dreams of raising a family. His short sideburns are neatly combed, his very long mustache is neatly combed, his very long beard is braided, his hair is clean shaven, and his heliotrope eyes are very wide set. He has an angular chin, and his lips are very thin. His nose is somewhat short, his hair is pale taupe, and his skin is cinnamon. Around the fish? Possibly. He never feels tempted to overindulge in anything and can be very single-minded. He has an overinflated sense of self-worth, and he does not enjoy participating in physical confrontations. He is prone to hatreds and often develops negative feelings after seeing a goblin's dead body in 211. Which... What year is it? 216. Okay, so that was before I founded this fort. He is quite ambitious and is quick to anger, and he is polite and isn't particularly curious about the world. Finds obligations confining, though he is conflicted by this for more than one reason. He needs positive sentiments, and he has a calm demeanor, and he tries to do things correctly each time. He doesn't really care about anything anymore, and is often focused with satisfied needs. The fort. But yeah, no, V-Man was always salty. It's really nice that he was just salty and not actually an asshole. The funny thing about him is, like, he's a dick, but, like, not a problematic dick. Does that make any sense? This was one thing I always kind of liked about V. The funniest thing about V-Man's streams now, though, is, like, he lives with his girlfriend, still in the same house, though. And he'll just be, like, super angry and salty at his stream. And then, like, his girlfriend will just say, love you, Vinny, love you, Vince, or love you, Vinny, just, like, off screen. And he'll just, like, completely change into a different person, perk up and be like, love you too, honey. And goes back to being angry. It's so funny. He's just, like, staring at the game, and he looks like he's about to tear his hair out, and then just, like, perks up, love you too, back to being angry. There's just something about it that I find endlessly endearing. All right, let's do this. Also, the fact that his mom still has one of the longest sub streaks in his chat. Just like my mom. My mom's been subscribed to me longer than any of you. LoL and Dota are games that I enjoy the mechanics of them, but will never, ever queue with randoms in a game like that. Yeah. You know, it's funny when people are just like, Dwarf Fortress is too hard to learn, and then they're just like, I'm gonna go play more Dota. Could not disagree more. Holy shit. Dota is way harder than Dwarf Fort. Like, way harder. Oh, also, just as proof. There you go. Best combo. I played like, I don't know, 10,000 hours of League of Legends, so yeah, I'm well aware. Probably close to 10,000 hours. It's funny, LOL tore our friend group at the time apart where you had two people that thought they were amazing and one of them would always play support and suck. And this was Silver 2 support, so it wasn't too important. The other one would be like 319.9 every game and blame you. League didn't tear my friend group apart or anything, but the thing that happened with League for me, and it's the same problem with Dota. I tried playing Dota for a bit and then stopped as well. The problem that I had with League is I don't see very well, right? In order for, like, and I can be mechanically competent at those games. Like, my peak in League was like Diamond 5, I think, which is not bad. Like, it's not great, but it's not terrible. It's better than the vast majority of people who play League. The problem was, in order for me to grind to that level to be able to play even normals with my friends who played a lot, I had to play like 10 games a day, 10 to 15 games a day to be able to maintain that kind of rank, to be able to play with my friends. Because my friends were all way better, and they were all very good. So the issue was, I either had to play with people that were annoying and difficult to play with that would drag my rank down, who were other people that I knew, or to play with my good friends, I had to grind like a motherfucker. And it was affecting all of my relationships. It was affecting my family life. It was affecting my girlfriend at the time. It was affecting literally everything else around me. So I eventually just kind of said, fuck it, and just stopped. And that's like a large amount of time to play a game. Like, when you take into account that at the time a game of League of Legends was anywhere from a couple of hours, or anywhere from like 30 minutes to an hour and a half. Like, those were not short games. I can probably cut through this, give them a shortcut. Yeah, no, I always try to explain to people the difference between difficulty and obtuseness. Dwarf Fortress is obtuse, it's not hard. Dwarf Fortress is very easy, it's just very obtuse. Whereas a game like Escape from Tarkov is hard and obtuse. I mean, when it comes to old school League of Legends people, one of my local streamer friends, Ponce, is another person who played League full-time for years. Again, don't envy him. Because, like, in order for him to get traffic on anything, he has to play League. And to this day, he still has to go back and occasionally play League to not go bankrupt. Because he never managed to fully transition out of his initial niche. I host Ponce pretty frequently at the ends of my streams too. Because Ponce is just a good dude. And it sucks that he's stuck. Let's go to E. Magma Smelter. Definitely need more furnace operators. Look at all of those fiery explosions. It's kind of cool. It's because I'm like dumping random boulders and shit and bones into here. But anyway, welcome to League of Legends Anonymous. I'm blind. We're all addicts here. We're all recovering addicts. It's just so nice to listen to. I need to help Tekid. Something that I'm offering him, I don't know if he'll be able to make time, but something that I'm offering him is that on, or when I have Tarn on the stream, if he wants to join and poke Tarn's brain, he's welcome to. Problem is he's not much of a social media guy, so. In Long Death? This isn't Long Death. The answer for Long Death, no. No, haven't cleaned it yet. But we were able to go a year without getting sieged, which is nice. First started League with a laptop that ran at 16 FPS and 250 ping. Heimerdinger and AP Jana were your favorite things to play? I mean, there was one year where I got ranked down to Bronze 5 because I lost every single one of my placement games. And I went 64-0 with AP Master Yi. 64-0! So much fucking fun. So much fucking fun. Probably, like, I wouldn't, I would just lock in Yi and go AP. I didn't care what lane they put me in. I got reported so many times I actually got temp banned at one point because I would just lock in Yi. 64-0. I would play jungle Yi. I would play top Yi. I would play mid Yi. I'd play support AP Yi. Support. I took all the farm. I'd play 80 carry AP Yi. I'd play anywhere AP Yi. And I wrecked fools. It was fantastic. Good. Those are some good memories. Anyway, when I was done ranking up, I was in like mid-plat. And I'm like, okay, I have to start taking this seriously. And then I went back to like my tanky junglers and stuff, but I wasn't smurfing. That was my main, dude. That was my main. I had a really crappy end to the season before. This was like 2013, maybe 2012, whatever it was. I had a really crappy edge to the season before and then lost every single one of my placement matches. That was my main. That wasn't a smurf. That was my main. You'd sit under turrets forever and heal forever while your team dived. Well, it was just like playing Evelyn back when Fire Cape would stack and you'd go invisible and stand underneath people completely invisible and their health would just like drain away and they'd be like, why am I dying? Also fantastic. Smurfing on your main doesn't make it better. Okay, but it wasn't intentional. You know, true story. I actually streamed League of Legends once. Sunfire Cape stacked on Rammus, stacked on Garen, stacked on Evelyn, stacked on anybody. I had a Smurf account, but at the time, my Smurf account outranked my main, and my main had way more characters on it, so, or champions, I guess. At the time, my main had all the champions, and my Smurf account had like 12 or something. But no, I was never one of those I'm gonna swap my main kind of people. So, I used to have this scheme in League of Legends. I'm going to admit a crime. Where I would go into GNU editing software, also known as GIMP, and I would edit the riot points thing to say 999999999. I would make a video saying how to get free riot points. Make a new account under this link and it'll have unlimited riot points. That account link was my affiliate link back when you could like get free Riot points for getting signups. Anyway, I'd get like 500 signups in a minute because I knew what time they posted the because you guys know how quickly I get the Dwarf Fortress news videos up, right? I knew what time they posted the patch notes videos, and this was back when you could respond on YouTube with other videos. So I would wait. I would make a new YouTube account. I would do it with my VPN turned on, because that's how smart I was. I would wait until they posted one of those, and then I would immediately have one already edited, upload it to a new YouTube account, and post it as a response video. And I would get like 250 signups, and I'd get like, I don't know, $100 to $200 in Riot points attached to my main. I mean, obviously, Riot could have found me, but I never got banned or in trouble for it or anything. And then within 10 to 15 minutes, the YouTube video would get reported and taken down. And I had Riot points, and I'd buy champions. That's how I unlocked all of the champions as a pro. In my defense, my parents were recovering from student loans, and we had, like, no fucking money. In my defense, it was a victimless crime. It was still a crime, but it was a victimless crime. Good afternoon. Hi, back. Gosh, you dislike some customers. No, I'm not 2 months ahead on this task. I actually am. No, I did not just do something that has never been done before. I just did. And they still complain about something I'm waiting for them to do and vent over, and thank you for reading. Okay, well, that sucks. I feel bad for you. They had 10K referrals to get your own champion, and that scumbag Athene did it, and they gave him an item instead and then banned him. Total Biscuit did it as well with WTF is League of Legends. And they gave him a skin, which I think was the Yorick heavy metal skin, and they gave him the Total Biscuit. You know, every now and again I go, the fuck is Athene up to? And then I go look him up again and go, yep, he's still running a cult. And then I go back to my life. It's, you know, can I just say, it's really funny to me seeing... Okay, so hold on a second. I'm going to talk about cancel culture for a second here. It's really funny seeing people get canceled now and for, like, doing pretty shitty things, right? And then going back and watching literally anything Athene did any day of his life and going, wow, this is like 50,000 times worse than anything people are getting actively canceled for now. Yet Athene did it every single day. Like, do you remember that stream where he just, like, hired 2 models and had them sit on either side of him and had people tip him money saying who was hotter? Does anybody remember that? That shit was on the front page of Twitch for like a day. Anyway, you remember when it started? There's I'll read that VOD Watcher comment in a second. There's a hour-and-a-half long video interview on People Make Games, where they interview Athene. I highly recommend watching it if you haven't seen it. Yeah, investigating Athene, the YouTuber who started a religion. It's literally like a 2-hour interview with him, as well as like various bits of other information and footage. It's super interesting and worth watching. Anyway, greetings, longtime VOD watcher, first stream viewer. Hello! You really enjoy my content, and you helped me get back into DF after years away from it because I never climbed that learning curve before. Yeah, the learning curve is only something you need to overcome once, though, fortunately. But, welcome. Hi. We're talking about a gamer who started a cult, who was a problematic piece of shit. Yeah, no, Twitch. It's a weird world. You know, I talk about missing the old days of Twitch. There's parts of it I really don't. Just like, you know, all those people who got really big back in the day for view botting and then claiming it wasn't them doing it. Wait, really? What? With NFTs? Oh, of her old thumbnails? Rakust has been taken by a Famood, who's a glassmaker. You gonna get mad that we don't have glassmakers? I'm good. I don't need to give her traffic. That's fine. Yes, you do want me to make you a glass furnace. Let's go magma glass furnace. Right over there. But in regards to VOD watchers, thank you so much for watching VODs. It's funny because there's some people who say that I should put them up on a different channel or not upload them. But I will just say that I'm glad that people do watch them. And the people who watch them a lot. And one of the commenters that I get pretty frequently is somebody who does come by the Twitch stream sometimes, who always just says thanks because he's pretty frequently in hospital and he has shitty internet in the hospital. And so he downloads the VODs or records them and takes them with him. I also know somebody who goes on submarine tours pretty frequently who downloads my VODs from YouTube and brings them with him. He's just like, well, I'm going to be gone for 4 weeks or 6 weeks or whatever. And he downloads that many days worth of VODs, which is also kind of awesome. So they're like months behind usually, but it's really cool hearing that. Somehow you missed all of these people? These people are the people that built the industry that I'm a part of. To a degree. But like Hollywood, being notorious builds a persona, right? And a lot of these old people who got into the industry early, like another example of a person probably a lot of people here don't remember is Phantom Lord. Phantom Lord got pretty big on Twitch for being really entertaining, playing League of Legends very entertainingly. Blew up, got really big, made a gambling site where you could gamble on CSGO skins and got in trouble for that, for he playing on his own gambling site. The other thing that he also did was he was giving away things in his chat for his gambling site for every subscriber. So what he did was he paid people to subscribe to his channel and make multiple accounts and subscribe to his channel, which, by the way, is completely against Twitch terms of service, right? Anyway, he got banned from Twitch for that. Then he fucking sued Twitch for loss of income. I don't even know how that ended. I just remember hearing that he was suing Twitch. It's like, what? He started on Own 3D and got big because he had a headset with a voice changer and the reactions were funny. Spoilers, he lost. Ah, good. Still one of the... Well, I mean, Phantom Lord didn't really get big because of that. Phantom Lord got big because he was friends with Dyrus, who was another big League of Legends person who was famous for bringing a pillow to esports events. This is kind of Twitch lore, yeah. Well, it's just like Caleb Hart, the super popular and famous speedrunner. Oh, there's a thief. Blinkus is back. Hello, Cobalt. Run away, please. But, where was I going with that? Like Caleb Hart. Caleb Hart, very famous, entertaining speedrunner, very muscly, blonde dude, sort of, who speedruns RPGs, like Final Fantasy VII and stuff, and a lot of Mega Man games. He got big because he would get so mad at his failed runs that he would, like, break his chair on stream. Pet the Cobalt? God, I wish I could. My dwarves would just kill it, though, if I sent them after him. I love Kobolds. I'll never do a bad thing to a Cobalt. Kobolds are friends. Also, I just realized we have a theft of glum water. Huh. Interesting. Some people genuinely get that the world don't generally get that the world doesn't revolve around them, and then the world slaps them back and they never get it. As a friend of mine says, when you have more money than brains, you think you've become God. Exhibit A. Elon Musk. And that's what happened to a lot of those streamer peoples, is they rocketed to the top of an industry. It's the same reason that the games industry is horrible and insufferable in a lot of places. It's because you have people who maybe grew up in a situation, and I'm one of these people who grew up in a situation where they were kind of isolated, didn't have a lot of friends, and then suddenly they have shit tons of money, and suddenly they are in charge of a company, and suddenly they're like, oh my God, I'm a grown-up. And that is the fastest way to absolute disaster and horrible workplace environment. Is you have people that think that they are the most important people in the world suddenly in charge of a company. That is a horrible place to be for almost any industry. Doesn't matter. Well, actually, literally any industry. Is people that think that they are impenetrable and think that they are indestructible and think that they are the greatest thing there and that everybody should love them. And, you know, people have been asking me to go to TwitchCon again. I'm going to be completely honest. I'm not going to go to a TwitchCon for a very long time because there are too many people like that in my industry. There are too many people that have that problem in my industry that got very famous very quickly and think they are the most important people in the world. And those are the worst kinds of people to be around and associate with. And the problem with the amount of time that I've been in this industry as I see it, it used to be harder for me to spot. I've gotten really good at it. So it's really difficult for me to want to socialize and associate with a lot of other people in my industry anymore. It's also for the same reason that I'm like really hesitant to even refer to people who watch my streams as friends. I don't know any of you. You know, like Orange recently joined the friend group because when I was in Montreal, he showed up and we went and got drunk and bar hopped for 6 hours and it was a good time. Well, some people get like weirdly upset in Twitch chat even, Gunnian, when I tell people that I'm not your friend. I'm a person who entertains you. Like Mr. Rogers entertained me when I was little. I never met Mr. Rogers. Are people interacting with who have the potential to become friends? Potentially, yeah. I mean, you can have your parasocial relationships. I mean, even I kind of have... There's a few streamers that I watch that I don't interact with much outside of Twitch chats that I kind of have like a weird parasocial friendship with. I'm super aware of it when it happens and I don't like it, but it definitely happens. It's kind of impossible for our brains to avoid it. But that is a position of power, and that is a position of power that's really easy to abuse. And a lot of people do. I'm not going to name names, but there's plenty of people in this industry that absolutely abuse that position of power. And I don't like that very much. It's a safe haven for those people who aren't exactly overly fit for outside. I think everybody is fit to be outside. And I don't think that the internet is a safe haven from that. Because you imply that that's a negative. Being outside is good and healthy and something that everybody should do with their free time. That is a fact. Humans want to trade. We should all aspire to go outside from time to time. Oh, shit. You finally claimed that glass furnace. Problem is now I need another one. Oh, I might be able to buy some glass off of these humans. Yeah, like, I wouldn't say that, like, that is a bad thing, and it was certainly written negatively, so. Half all the stoneworkers' mandate has ended. Ha! Remember how I said we're going to have that elf as a mayor? You know, I think I've found a new goal for this fortress, chat. We're going to try and make this elf into dwarven royalty. That's what I think we're going to do. We have an elven mayor, chat. Any dates to DF coming to Steam? None that I know that you don't know. I don't, although, ask Tarn on the 14th when he joins me on stream next week. 3 p.m. Pacific. Well, this isn't a king, and she would be a queen, but he's just a mayor right now. There you go. But yeah, all I can say is when it's done. I mean, they're in bug fixing, so probably sometime this year. I don't actually... I don't know things that other people do. That I know the exact same things that everybody else knows. I don't have any big secrets or anything. It'll be done when it's done, and every day it's closer to being done. This is new times we're living in. I like role-playing in DF. In this faction, the queen of the faction is a Gelder. Every single one of the gods in this faction are represented by female dwarves, and they're all various gods of torture, misery, and war. So I think that these dwarves like this new concept of different leadership. Also, it's actually very easy to end up with an elf as your mayor. But that's kind of beside the point. It's super easy because the older somebody... It's the same reason vampires end up as mayor frequently. The older a character in Dwarf Fortress is, the more likely they are to have a high speech stat. And speech stat is almost the entire thing that governs speech and lying specifically, which is kind of ironic, are the two stats that cause characters to get elected as political figures. Dwarf Fortress has vampires? Yep, and Werecreatures. One of the rarest creatures I've ever seen in Dwarf Fortress was a werewolf, because a Werecreature can be any kind of animal in your world were variant. So you could have like a were-donkey, or a were-camel, or a were-mammoth, or a were-elephant, or a werebear. Which is a very funny sounding sentence. But the funny bit about that is there was one time I had a world that actually had werewolves. So cool. By a werehorse? My first were-creature related death was a were-cougar. I think that was my old best friend's mom, actually. I mean, what? Anyway, yeah, no, it's... Werecreatures are scary if you don't know how to deal with them. Vampires are fun because suddenly you'll just have dwarves turning up dead. A were-care bear? You'd probably need to install the Care Bears mod. And then at that point, maybe. I've never actually messed around with that mod myself. Investments are open. Although, I do, however, at some point... where is that? I do, however, at some point need to install the Pokemon Dwarf Fortress mod for one reason. Where is it? Ah, there we go. That's the reason. I need to mess with this map with this mod at some point. Be back soon. Falling down the Athedan cult video. That video is phenomenal. But yeah, this Pokemon mod looks kind of great. After this invest, you're going to sleepy time? Gotcha. Wait. All right, let's bring up Featherwood. Use that as scaffolding. Make a bunch more copper things. Also, I'm curious, did I screw this up? No, I didn't. Man, that just looks weird. Rock. Oop. Door. 30. Kind of diorite. I love the fact that, like, people talk about how food is difficult in Dwarf Fortress. I haven't started farming yet in this fortress. How much food am I at? 62 plants? Okay, we gotta go harvest more plants. I haven't even started farming yet, and I'm on, like, year 4 or something of this fort. Just doing that. That's all that we're living off of. Also, occasionally slaughtering animals. Is that it? Oh, there we go. Okay, okay. Good job, Diamond. Damn, dude. You're on a roll. You are on a fucking roll, dude. Chat, can I get I don't know, a congrats, you're rigging the bets or something. At Diamond. Good night, dude. You've made so many extra tickets today. It's ridiculous. How many hours would a new player have to play to get along? What, with Dwarf Fort? I'll use me as a comparison, but keep in mind that I play obtuse, weird games, and I'm kind of used to ASCII. It took me about 5 hours to be able to play and not feel completely fucking confused with everything I saw. The trick to learning Dwarf Fortress is just accepting that things are going to die, and you're going to be confused. And your best way to learn Dwarf Fort is to just play slowly and read along with the wiki. The new player guide on the wiki is very good. Just, it's step-by-step instructions of every hotkey you need to hit and every button. The hardest part about learning Dwarf Fortress is just kind of wrapping your mind around its UI logic. Once you kind of start to understand the UI logic, the game becomes a lot easier very quickly. Yeah, 5 hours. Maybe. And if you've played a game like RimWorld or The Sims or any kind of game where you have to control characters, yeah, Krug Smash's basics tutorial is a very good starter tutorial. My favorite thing about Krug Smash's tutorial, though, is he's stated that he's probably not going to remake it and never wants to do another one because he says he's not a psychopath, which I think is kind of funny. Also, my dwarves need booze. We're out of booze. Also, right now is probably the easiest time to watch or learn to play Dwarf Fortress. And the reason I say that is because Dwarf Fortress is getting really, really close to coming out, right? Like, it'll be out this year, probably. I'd be kind of shocked at this point if it didn't come out this year. And because of that, the community is, like, the long-term community is louder and more active and more talkative and more active than they've maybe been ever. And the best way to learn Dwarf Fortress is just to talk to people about Dwarf Fortress. Like, there's people like myself who stream. There's multiple super active Discords. There's the subreddit, which is super active. The forums are a little quiet, but that's because everybody's moved to kind of like the subreddit and Discords and various other places. And it's pretty easy to just like find help if you get confused or lost or perplexed by a mechanic. So I would say right now is probably the easiest time to learn Dwarf Fortress ever. It's a lot of the talk of the game being an impenetrable cliff. It's mostly memes. Like, it's not that bad. I would say it's about as difficult to learn Dwarf Fortress as it is to learn to play Civilization competently. The only difference is Civilization holds your hand and walks you through everything step by step. Dwarf Fortress, you just need to look at a wiki. But it's no harder than learning any big strategy game, because that's all it is. It's just a big strategy game. Yeah, it's the art style and the UX. That's the only barriers to entry. And if you're compelled enough by the concept, the art style doesn't matter. Like, in fact, you'll learn to love it. It's a lot of troglodyte blood. Religious win every time. I mean, religious zealots digging too deeply, maybe. Don't be friends with Gandhi. It's not worth it. One of my favorite dumb reoccurring memes in games is don't trust Gandhi. You know, at some point in the far-flung future, alien archaeologists or maybe even human archaeologists are going to be digging up our remains of an old dead society, and they're going to be going, who was this Gandhi figure? He seems to be important in history. And then upon further examination, he was a nuclear war criminal. Oh my God. Must have caused the downfall of this society. Warlord Gandhi, yeah, absolutely. How large do I think that the fan base for Dwarf Fortress is? Now, when you say fan base, do you mean fan base? Or do you mean active player base? Because both of those things are really hard to say. Because there's no easy way to track the stats. And do you want numbers? Like, what do you mean when you ask that question? Like, what kind of answer are you expecting to get? Because I can give a couple different answers. Well, I'll say this, right? I'm going to go to my YouTube channel. I'm going to go to community. I'm going to scroll down. Because I put out a poll a little while ago, which I think is interesting. How much Dwarf Fortress do you play? Is, I think, an interesting one. This is a pretty interesting thing. And then there's another one that I put out a little while ago. So maybe every few years, once a year or so, once a month, every few days, I have 15 forts running at all times, and I might need help. Only 4% of the people who responded to that poll. Scroll down a little further. I put out a do you play Dwarf Fortress once. Yeah, here it is. Do you play Dwarf Fortress? 2,500 people voted on this. 54% said yes. 5% said no, and 41% said waiting. So it seems to be about 50-50 of my audience that actively plays it. But the Dwarf Fortress is a very well-known game. And this is why it's hard to say how big is the Dwarf Fortress community. Like, there's 130,000, I think, in the Dwarf Fortress subreddit, right? That's a pretty good gauger for like engaged community members, right? And not everybody in that subreddit plays. A lot of people in that subreddit are just in that subreddit because they like reading about it. But it's not terribly popular on content platforms. You want to know why it's not terribly popular on content platforms? I have a very easy answer to this. It's not because people don't want to watch it. There's plenty of people that want to watch it. It's because creators are fucking lazy. Literally. Like, I hate the guy, but look at Seth's review of Dwarf Fortress. That video's got 5 million views. There are people that play Dwarf Fortress. The thing is, for some reason, and this is partially the reason why I get almost no raids on this channel, right? Part of the reason why very few like streamers will raid me outside of people that I know real well is they have this assumption that if a game is obtuse looking, people don't want to watch it. Like the number of times I've talked with creators over Discords and conversations and just in passing, how do you get people to watch that while I stream it? It's kind of amazing to me, actually. Because, yes, there is an audience of people that want to watch Dwarf Fortress. And they want to watch it a lot. Like, there's a reason why Vinny, or not Vinny, Verge Skeletor, what the fuck's his name? Joel. There's a reason Joel, like, most recent Dwarf Fortress Let's Play has, like, 500,000 views on part 1. There's a reason why people watch my videos. There's a reason why Krug Smash does well. The problem is nobody wants to take the time to learn it and present it. But in my opinion, the best gauge of how big the Dwarf Fortress community is when the Steam version releases. And you may have seen me talk about this before, but if I go to Steam database real quick, this is a lot of back-end information about games on Steam, right? Well, if I go to charts, first off, we're streaming Dwarf Fortress with 240 viewers on the 4th of July. Monday? Who was that? Anyway, you can kind of see me on my days, right? Because like I stream on pretty consistent times. That's just Twitch viewers, right? Lifetime concurrent viewer... players on... What? Oh, never mind. I'm misreading that graph. So currently it's on 107,000 people's following on Steam. 107,000 people follow this game on Steam, which is a lot of people. Just for reference, let's find a similarly obtuse, ridiculous game that not a lot of people play. Or maybe a lot of people play, rather. Crusader Kings. How many people follow Crusader Kings on Steam? 200,000. Crusader Kings before release, Crusader Kings 3 before release had 80,000. At release, it jumped up above and is now close to 200,000. Right? Well, CUD will make you sad. But sure, I'll show you CUD. 24,000 people follow Caves of CUD on Steam. Jupiter Hell. So this isn't wish lists. This is people who follow the game. Jupiter Hell had 5,000 and post-release has 12,000, 13,000. This isn't wish lists. This is followers. So on Steam, when you can click this button. And this button just sends you a little pop-up down here whenever there is a news post here or an update, right? So those are people that get that. So and it's about 10% of people who wishlist games also follow it. Another good example for Dwarf Fortress, as you can see, it's on my wishlist and I'm following it. Another good example for Dwarf Fortress is RimWorld. RimWorld, admittedly, has been on Steam longer than the following function has existed. RimWorld has 480,000 followers. Similar maniacal audience. similar levels of obsessiveness over the game. I mean, if you want to get real sad for a second here, Odd Realm. Apparently someone with 700 viewers was streaming it today. That's kind of, or right now even? What? Anyway, like 11,000 people follow it. Yes, but here's the thing. Dwarf Fortress hasn't released yet. Games get huge boosts in their followings and wish lists when they release. CK has, like, CK has PDX marketing behind it and only has twice as many. Only has twice as many. Dwarf Fortress is huge. It just hasn't seen its potential yet. Since almost no one in Brazil streams it, there's a load of people who play it. I know 2 channels from Brazil who speak Portuguese who streamed Dwarf Fortress. Some guys named Nautilus Link, who I've never spoken with, and another streamer who doesn't stream Dwarf Fortress very frequently because they're too busy playing Dota all the time. Who I keep trying to convince to stream more. Oh, it's Splattercat? Okay. Well, shoutouts to Splat then. Fuck yeah. Splattercat shares like so much audience with me on YouTube. It's not even funny. Like, actually, hold on. Let me show you the back end of my YouTube stats for a second. Is it audience? Is that the button? Ah, here it is. Other channels your audience watches. Splattercat, Nucrium, Mandalore. And these two swap out pretty frequently with various people. But like, I just think that that's kind of funny. Shout out to Splat. Good game. DF will pour out shadows. You have this romantic idea that DF fans will pour out of the shadows and propel it to success? Dwarf Fortress will be hugely successful on Steam. That's not a question. The question is, will it be well received? Oh, shit. Well, that's not super surprising. I was super not paying attention to this dwarf. Sorry there, dwarf. Roadkill. Well, the militia commander collided with Rakust, who is Witcode. And the militia commander strikes at the glassmaker in the upper left leg with the pommel of her silver battle axe, fracturing the bone. Oy. And then hacks him again in the head with her silver warhammer, and the severed part sails off in an arc. Whoops. I feel kind of bad about that one, but oops. So, I keep on trying to convince the few Brazilian streamers that I know to stream Dwarf Fortress in Portuguese, but it's the exact same problem that I run into, but even harder. The problem that I run into is people just assume the game is obtuse and complicated, so they don't tune in. And I still struggle with this problem, right? Like, a lot of the reason I have a hard time growing on Twitch is because so many people are like, oh, well, there's no audience for that. The other problem is, and I don't envy people who aren't native speakers, is you also add on the extra difficulty of having to translate the whole game in real time. I don't envy that to anybody, which is part of the reason you see so few streamers in non-English languages streaming Dwarf Fortress, because it is a very difficult game to stream if you don't speak English natively. It's also an even harder game to watch if you don't speak English natively. Especially if your audience doesn't speak English natively. Caves of Cut is the same problem. Proc-gen games like this that are so heavily based around English grammar, the whole game would have to be rewritten to translate it. You're a professional translator? Sure. But you also got to remember, like, large portions of this game are randomly generated every time and based around English. So not only would the entire game need to be translated, but it would need to be rewritten alongside of that translation. Like I said, it's the same problem Caves of Cut has. It's a fucking shame. Also, that's cool. It's nice to hear that people still have jobs translating things in a world where everything in that industry is going digitally. Digital. Mm-hmm. And also update it individually. So unless your game is huge, good luck. How much cloth do I have? 59. Let's jump up to the surface. Oh, streaming and translating as you go. The thing that I'll say, the thing that's actually, I don't know if there's a Portuguese wiki for Dwarf Fortress, but honestly, I think that the biggest assistance that you can do as far as translating Dwarf Fortress related things would be to help translate the wiki into other language. I know that there is a pretty complete Russian translation of the Dwarf Fortress wiki, but because you made your first fortress and now you just realize you can't be sieged by goblins? Yeah, I mean, if there's no goblins on your landmass, yeah, that's going to be a problem. I mean, aren't these elves? Why don't you go to war with the elves? That's fine. You want to fight with somebody. The Fleshy Buck! I'm sure they're friendly. The Hills of Ronus! Yeah, no, I mean, the biggest assistance that you can do for games like this, like if you just want to help the community that speaks your language, the best thing that you can do is help translate the wiki. Like, talk to I don't know the names of the people who run the wiki, but like reach out to the like Reddit mods or somebody, or ask around on the KitFox Discord and see if there's a because I don't even know if there's a Portuguese Dwarf Fortress wiki, but like find the wiki or find a wiki version of it that's in your language and start editing it, or start one and work on and actively update it. That is the best thing that you can do if you want to help the Dwarf Fortress community. Like there's this there's a Russian YouTube channel that popped up pretty recently that's doing almost exactly the same thing that I'm doing with Dwarf Fortress news videos, but in Russian, which is huge. And I hope that they continue, even though they're obviously not monetized anymore. I haven't checked in on that channel in a while, which is why I say I hope that they continue. But yeah, it's a tricky thing to kind of navigate, I guess. Like, how do you help a game like this? Because there's only so much that you can do. But when it comes to all you can do is make the process of learning the game easier for people who don't speak the language that the game is programmed in. That's the most that you can do. And I need to pester the few Portuguese people or few people who speak Portuguese that I know to stream Dwarf Fortress, because Dwarf Fortress has a very, very active communities in Eastern Bloc countries, in India, in various parts of Asia, in Brazil, in South America, and countries where expensive computers are even more expensive because of economic or various other reasons. That is kind of like the dark horse portion of Dwarf Fortress that's like kind of hard to pinpoint from my perspective. That I kind of don't really, I know that there's a very large, I know the Russian speaking Dwarf Fortress community is one of the biggest, and the reason I can say that is because they're the only one with a fully functioning wiki translation that's actively updated that I know of. I think that there's also a Spanish one that I know has had some activity. I don't know how active it is these days, or how actively it gets updated for that matter. But yeah. Something that would be really cool that I should do at some point is make a video of every single different translation of the wiki and encourage people to go edit them. Can elven unicorns fly? No. Unicorns are just unicorns. There's no Pegasi or Pegasuses. Pegasuses? Pegasuses. Pegasuses in Dwarf Fortress. But maybe you could have like a weird necromancer experiment that was experimented on a unicorn that could fly, but that's not a unicorn anymore. That would be like a mistake of Nagathul Zaga's torture, blah, blah, blah. Or something. This is going to take 10,000 years to finish. Although the scariest thing that I ever got attacked by from elves was a bunch of elves that were infested with goblins. And they attacked me riding undead giant ravens. My fort died. Also, I think Pegasi is the proper term. You went and bought a Red Dragon Kumara keyboard with the blue switches, and now you can has chonky clonks when you play? Hell yeah. Now you got to just give Tarn and Zach like $3 a month on Patreon. And then everybody wins. Did I not build a wall piece right there? The fuck? I did not. Holy shit. But what'd you do? Just follow along with the wiki? What? Since we have like a live example of somebody who just started learning Dwarf Fortress, how hard would you say it's been learning Dwarf Fortress, Bill? From like pretty close to minimal knowledge, I would assume. Has it been particularly challenging, or? What type of projects are you working on? You just finished your moat and walls. You don't know what you should make next. Currently, this whole fortress is supposed to be kind of an above ground tower thing. And I'm eventually going to build a bridge over to this other mountain peak over on this side. But the goal of this fort is to just make it valuable enough that the queen joins. So I can kill her. That's the actual goal for this fortress. Apparently I can't export grates. Well, that's great. Petitions? The Creeds of Inking. No thanks. I do not need another musical performance troupe. I already have one. But if you finish your moat and walls, I would recommend digging deeply. Maybe not greatly, but deeply for sure. Go try and find some different metals. Go working downwards. Maybe send out some adventuring military parties to go and find artifacts and maybe try and steal them from the elves. You could try and set up a different type of farming thing. Maybe try and tame an animal in the basement. There's actually a really good page on the DF Wiki that's literally just called like things to do. And it's just like a list of player-made challenges with different goals and things. Something that I also really like doing is if I start getting bored of a particular fortress, I'll go build a different fort in the same world with the same faction, just close by, and then kind of redo the early game stuff, and it just strengthens that faction's hold on that chunk of the map. Sounds really good. Yeah, musical tattooing group, or a bunch of singing octopus people. Why would that be offensive? I mean, here's the thing. Following Krug Smash's video is one thing. Reading the wiki is something else. And both of those things make starting Dwarf Fortress very easy if you're even remotely up on it. Is that literally what it's called, things to do? I always think it's called challenges. Oh, I see. Hold up. Yeah, if you it's not that. It's hold up. Really just called challenges? Hold up. Playstyle challenges. That's what I was thinking of. This is the page I'm thinking of. These are all the player-made goals. Including one called The World is Flat. There you go, playstyle challenges. Also, autumn has come. But no, I might come across like one, but I'm not some sort of gatekeepy asshole. I may give off that demeanor, but I don't really mean it. I mean, the thing about the other content creator is he was playing... The content creator that I don't like that made one DF video once played on an older version of DF that was pre-installed for one thing, which... that alone annoys me. Also, like, that video is not allowed to be posted on the Dwarf Fortress subreddit because it breaks too many of the Dwarf Fortress subreddit's, like, policies, which I think is really funny. What do you mean by pre-installed? There's a bunch of old pre-set up DF hack Dwarf Therapist with the tile set pre-installed packs floating around the internet from, like, 2014. There's a bunch of those. Oh, you mean like Cupo, Falfon? That's who I feel like you're talking about. Anyway, there's a bunch of those floating around the internet. And there's a YouTuber named Seth who put up a review of Dwarf Fortress, which made me stop streaming Dwarf Fortress for like a month because his community became pretty insufferable for a bit there. Anyway, I don't really like the guy very much, and this is a commonly known fact. But anyway, he put up a video, and in his video, he used a pre-installed package of Dwarf Fortress that was about 5 versions behind. So a lot of his criticisms about the game had already been fixed. Anyway. That's a different subject, though. I couldn't recall the name. I just don't like the guy because he weaponizes his audience. He promotes games that deserve promotion. And he's a very talented writer and editor. And even every now and again, he'll write a joke that's mildly amusing. But, like, I don't respect people who weaponize their audience. That's just shitty. Even though he promotes games that very much deserve the promotion. As they say in the modern classic piece of film / literature, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, or Bill and Ted's something adventure, fucking whatever. Bill and Ted, be excellent to each other and party on, dudes. Don't go around calling people names and insulting them for existing. Animated art for it guy? Krug Smash? Krug Smash draws the crayon drawings. Seth reviewed Dwarf Fortress once. Trying to think, who else does animated art? Cupo does the weird mural things in ASCII, which is the other person that I mentioned. Cupo is just a fucking wizard, though. Dude is probably the most knowledgeable Dwarf Fortress player I've ever seen. I kind of want to build a glass roof. So make your fortress perfectly symmetrical. What? Wait. Hold on a second. What is wrong with you making the fortress perfectly symmetrical? What's wrong with you making fortresses that are perfectly symmetrical? This guy? I have hiccups, apparently. I mean, to be fair, his name is very difficult to spell. Unless, like, you know it already. Pretty forts and prog rock, yep. Sometimes space rock, sometimes psych rock. Him and me actually have, like, almost an identical taste in music when it comes to that type of rock, which is funny. And every now and again, I'll pop into his stream and be like, I've seen this band live twice. And he'll be like, what? The fuck? Why? Let me see if I can find that really old. There was this really old install. Actually, hold on. Yeah, this is a place people tend to get Dwarf Fortress from that's super outdated. Or was super outdated. Maybe it's updated now. Yeah, this is a place that people tend to get it. So, let me just pause this. I'm getting bad notifications, and I think a dwarf just died. Oh, shit, there's a giant cave spider. Who's killing a Gorlak. Okay, that's fine. Nobody just died. Everything is fine. Anyway, this is an old install of Dwarf Fortress. This is Goblin Art. Goblin Art is a variant of a what's it called? It's a variant of various other tile sets, right? Kind of looks like this. It's a variant of Mayday's graphical tile set, right? So this website is still pretty high up in search terms for Dwarf Fortress. They've actually updated it now to include this stuff, but there's 2 pre-installed versions with this tile set packed in vanilla. From here and here. Old Goblin Art one, as well as this new one from 2014. I've encountered a number of people that thought that this was the official website for Dwarf Fortress. Even though this is a, like, blog that, yeah, hasn't been updated in forever. This is Mayday's old website, right? Who's now working on Steam DF. But I've ran into this a couple of times and people going, wait, that's not recent? Because people don't read. Encountering Mayday's old website. So, you know, stuff like that. Saw a video earlier where a guy explains how stairs work in DF. Ah, yes, DOS Tactics video. No, ramps go diagonally. Stairs go up and down. Ramps go this way, up a wall. And caravans can use them. We have caravans. The dwarves are here to trade. Don't really have much to sell them. Clothing, apparently. How much copper do I have? 552. Wow. Oh boy. Let's make 20 copper balls. You can, but don't use them for non-dwarf things. I'm using them for aesthetics. If it's just dwarves that are going to be using the stairs, just use stairs. They're better in almost every aspect. I have significantly more copper. There's a ton of copper over in this side of the hill too. Like down here a ways. There's also coal, gems, and various other things. There's also... Yeah. There's some more. A small demon, dog outside barking. Neighbor has a chihuahua, and it's yapping. Satan spawn incarnate. I think I could also bring some gems. You have no concept for what is and what isn't a meaningful amount of anything. In Long Death, I at one point had like 20,000 unsmelted iron ore, which is like times that by 3 in bars. Yeah, well, also that. Muck around with things and see what works best for you. Generally the best way to go about doing things. Except for when it comes to raising children. Maybe, like, do some research first. You're just deliriously quipping off what's happening in your headset. And maybe it's time to go the fuck to sleep. You have a good night, though. We'll be on again tomorrow. It's often the ultimate strategy of getting them killed, but that's just more fun. Yeah, there is that. I'm thinking I might do Long Death again tomorrow, just because, like, Long Death at War is, like, weirdly intriguing to me. Wilmer, who's again one of my dwarves from a previous fortress, who's now the liaison of this faction, says, I am your liaison from the Mountain Homes. Let's discuss your situation. There's much to share. We've updated your civilization and world info. What requests do you have of our merchants? And I'm going to be like, Anvils, please. And then the elf says, Olava says, they say to Olava, I look forward to our meeting next year. Our fortunes rise and fall together. What's Long Death? Exclamation point, Long Death in the chat. Should tell you everything that you need to know. And if it doesn't, then I can elaborate. It's a attempt to keep a fortress alive for 1,000 in-game years. There's a full YouTube playlist as well as the save file if you would like to fuck around in it. One that's been running for ages. Yeah, at some point, man, someone else is being shitty. I'm not gonna put this on my channel anywhere, but if you're subscribed to me, go to my Discord. I'm gonna post something in Screaming. Some people. Some people. That's all I have to say. I think when it comes to setting priority number 1 is most important and 7 is the least important. Yeah, lower the number, the more important. Also, a migrant has arrived. A single migrant, and it's Space Pirate. But they have the permanent affliction from the stupid lake. I didn't name it that. The stupid lake is named the stupid lake. It has a curse on it, and anybody who goes near it gains permanent fever for the rest of their lives. You know what? We'll let you stay here. We can have one dwarf with a fever. Welcome to the fortress, Space Pirate. All right, let's see if I can, I could buy some steel bars and make an anvil. So buy a little bit of leather. It'll... Oh, never mind. Actually gonna get rid of those steel bars, because those are all like 300 a piece. Let's instead... Did you not bring any anvils? What kind of dwarven traders don't bring anvils? There they are. That's what I'm talking about. Steel anvils. Let's buy one of those, because apparently that's all I can afford. Being sassy at people that are being ridiculously mean for no logical reason. Such is the way of YouTube comments. You had no idea cursed lakes were a thing? So are cursed oceans. It's real fun when you have cursed oceans that are all like, not only are we a cursed ocean, but here, have some undead whales on your coast. Undead whale crawling up the beach is, terrifying. Yeah, find yourself a haunted lake. You have to be subscribed to me to see it. I have two subscriber-only rooms that are, one is basically dedicated to politics, and then the other one is basically just like normal sub-only chat. And if I want to make fun of people, I post it in the sub-chat. Because I'd rather not post that publicly. What are you asking for, child? Cut gems, stacked cloth, mining bars, cut gems. All right. All right, let's open up the cavern layers again. I'm gonna open up the cavern layers so that we can go collect cloth. Or silk, more specifically. But yeah, sorry about that, Bill. I don't want to, like, call somebody out directly. I don't want to call out somebody's username directly, but it's the person's username that's funny to me. So. The TLDR on what I'm commenting about, though, I can say this much, is I uploaded a video to YouTube today and made a post today, both which are annoying people. So I'm getting kind of like a crossfade of like two of the worst kinds of people going after my YouTube channel right now. Not actively, but like there's definitely been some shitty comments, and I've gotten one death threat today. The first thing I did was I posted a video, which is of a game that's a charity fundraiser for Ukraine. The second thing I did is I posted this itch.io bundle, which I will link in a second after I grab a link for it. Which is annoying the rest of the internet. Which also fantastic bundle, you know. It's got 340 games in it and 363 physical games in it, as in printable tabletop games. Fantastic bundle for a good cause. And, you know, some people are like weird about women's medical rights. So I'm getting some awkward comments right now. And as far as people telling me things like, oh, you can't like put your own politics on your YouTube channel. I can do whatever the fuck I want. You have the right to unsubscribe, god damn it. Really? Hold on. So you're a professional translator and a historian? You wear a lot of hats. Some cool hats though. I'm just a full-time Twitch streamer and an idiot, so those are the two hats I wear. And I also have a baseball cap, which is a pretty nice hat. You get all kinds of shit. I believe it.
I subbed again.
Hey, welcome back, Ming. Thanks for the Prime sub. And the first notification of money in 5 hours. Actually, no, 2 hours. I lied. I read the wrong notification. 2 hours. Here's dude. Yeah, being an idiot also doesn't pay bills, sadly. My life would be so much easier if it was. I can understand that. It's funny that you say that because like every single it feels like every single member this isn't true, but out of my time streaming, I've met 3 different full-time Twitch streamers that have masters in archaeology. And they stream on Twitch because there's no money in archaeology, and 2 of them are in my Twitch team. Which is interesting because they studied in similar parts of the world, in similar schools at similar times, and met each other on Twitch. You've gotten death threats from a real fascist story. I just get death threats by incels on the internet, so I don't envy that. Although I don't usually get death threats directly. What I usually get are people who say, like, who obviously know too much about me and say things like, I hope you kill yourself. That's usually what it is. It's usually, I wish that you'd commit suicide statements. Still aren't particularly pleasant, but okay. Okay, let's try this. I need a gem cutter to do some gem cutting. Cut moss opal, there you go. Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know a ton about Brazil's political situation. I've heard a few things. It doesn't make me envious, I'll put it that way. Shining bars of metal stacked cloth. What the fuck do you want? Shining bars of metal stacked. Wait, oh, actually, do you want bones? Here, I'll slaughter 2 baby yaks for you. I've shut the fuck up. Remember something, Bill. Responding to people who are angry and silly with more anger generally just gets you more anger. That's all it really ever gets you. So if someone says something stupid to you, give them sarcasm and kindness, and it really upsets them. What do the blue O's? So this is a good biome. These are bubble bulbs. Bubble bulbs, I don't really know what they are. They're like a fantastical fantasy flower thing that exists in Dwarf Fortress. So these aren't even trees. These are just bubble bulbs. It's the good biome grass. Over here, these ones are trees. So this is a feather tree trunk, which are good biome trees that lay eggs for some reason. This is a pecan tree. Up top, you can see the tops of the trees. But these over here aren't trees because this is a mountain biome. So these are just bubble bulbs. Yeah, this is a good biome. Multi-good biome, which is why we have mountain gnomes running into the fortress and stealing my ale a couple times a year. Okay, child is grabbing bits for the artifact. Okay, let's follow you. Well, stay safe. All I can say in regards to that. Okay, what do you need now? More skeletons, I think. Actually, you might also need more gems. Now have an axe lord in the fortress. I mean, I don't know if I would have that response to it, Bill, but you do you. Joyous Wilds, yes. Or Mirthful. This is 2 Joyous Wilds biomes, though. Ooh. The giantess, Ismar Lasset Lenge, has come. A gigantic creature resembling a human, almost unparalleled in size. It is almost invisible because it blends in with the natural environment. It is this blue G. She is completely naked, and I'm going to send my dwarves to go cut her into tiny pieces. Come at us, you G. We're going to turn that G into an O. Waiting for my dwarves to run across the map and stab her to death. This is a hard biome to see what's going on. Looks like my Axe Lord Shem is fighting with her. Blood on the ground. The giantess seems to be taking a lot of strikes. Considering the first hit on the giantess was in the upper leg with a Brismith Bronze Shield. Bruising the force twists the hip. The Axe Lord hacks at the upper body with their copper battle axe, tearing the fat. The Axe Lord hacks at the giantess in the right foot with a copper battle axe, tearing the muscle. What does Shem have to say about this? Nothing, really. Just hacking her to pieces. And Kodal's also here, also helping hacking her to pieces. And she dead. Well done. Who got the kill? Looks like Shem got the kill. We've had unicorns on this map, too. They're pretty chill. They just kind of walk around the map and then leave. I think it's cut gems that you want. But you also probably want metal bars, which is a little bit annoying. Because, like, literally has everything that they need. Maybe cloth? What kind of cloth do I not have? It's cave spider silk cloth, rope reed, and pigtail. I have a sheep. See if I can shear animal. Set it to do it now. Literally. Oh, wait. Let's butcher an animal. Well, you go butcher. Are there creatures larger than 1 tile in size? No, not in Dwarf Fortress. Although supposedly in Premium, some creatures are going to be larger than 1 tile, even though they're still going to fit into 1 tile. Like giants, as an example, are going to stick into the tile above, potentially. Multi-tile creatures in games like this are extremely difficult to implement. Very few games that I know of have them. There's one game that I know of on Steam that's a roguelike that has multi-tile creatures, and it's Lost Flame. Well, I guess so does Cogmind. Cogmind has some multi-tile creatures too. But Lost Flame has the biggest ones that I know of. They're like they have 3x3 and 6x6 creatures. There's like a dragon that's like half the size of the screen in this game. They're very difficult. Wagons aren't really a creature. They're not really like a self-governing creature though. They're just technically listed as a creature for reasons. One of the more confusing factoids about DF. You're probably thinking of the early prototype of Ultima Ratio Regum, probably. But that game has since removed all of its enemies because they were too much of a pain in the ass to code. And is going to be putting them back. That might be what you're thinking of, because that had that. Why is it so hard to implement them? Because suddenly doors have to be a lot bigger, and caves have to be a lot bigger. And places, maybe they spawn in places that they can't get out. That hurts frames and makes the game less pleasant to play. Like, how do you fit a 14-tile dragon through a 1-tile door? Also, there's the fact that if a whale... Because this Dwarf Fortress has blue whales in it, right? If a blue whale was the size that a blue whale is supposed to be versus the size of the map, they would be bigger than most maps. So then you have the question of, all right, do you implement accurate sizing? Or no? So I don't know. It's a tricky thing. Maybe, but that's a lot of mechanics you then have to implement, right? Like that, you're not making your argument of why is it so hard to implement seem more appealing. You're reinforcing the argument of why it's hard to implement. And would usually destroy the terrain? Cool. Dwarf Fortress doesn't have destructible terrain. There is no enemy in Dwarf Fortress that can destroy terrain, aside from dragon, fire, and bridges. But TLDR, it's not something that you're ever going to get, no matter how badly you want it. And I want it too. I think multi-tile creatures would be incredible, but it's never going to happen in Dwarf Fortress. So your best bet is to just don't ask for it. It's kind of like, unless you made the game, you can't really ask why it's so hard to implement, because there's plenty of talks online of Tony talking about why there's no multi-tile creatures in Dwarf Fortress. I mean, I don't disagree that it would be pretty cool, but I'm just going to tell you what I know. They will one day. Wait, what? That's planned. But we need better defenses for sieges first. Part of the sieges arc, which is one of those many things that's going to get worked on post-Steam release. One of the many, many things. Probably post-map rewrite as well. Interrupted by Crundle. Brilliant. But I don't know. It's one of those things where it's just, I get frustrated explaining to people why it's difficult to implement and why it's not a feature that's reasonable to ask for in the game. I get frustrated, and I haven't even made this goddamn game, so I can't imagine how annoyed Tarn gets hearing that time and time again. So, I don't know. Needs empty cage. Did you really fill up those cages that quickly? Jesus. You also need to remember that roguelikes are way simpler to make than a game like Dwarf Fortress. Dwarf Fortress has one mode of play that's kind of like a roguelike. Roguelikes don't have as much thinking and planning and generation going on. Even something like Cataclysm Dark Days Ahead, its world generation, and the Diamonds of Flesh, that's a disturbing name. Something like Cataclysm Dark Days Ahead is fucking stones tossed in a pool in comparison to Dwarf Fortress's ridiculous amounts of simulation. Yeah, like we don't actually see the vast majority of what's going on in the back end of Dwarf Fortress at all times. And suddenly having to account for tons of different sized creatures, yeah, no. There's certain things they need to cheat on, and that's one of those things. I'm happy that they have basically said, yeah, that's probably not going to happen. Like, Tarn still leaves it on the table as like, it's something that might happen in the future, but it's very unlikely. Unless there's like a huge breakthrough in computing power and Tarn's lifespan. I don't think it'll ever happen. And like I say to people when it comes to Dwarf Fortress is like, people are annoyed with how long Dwarf Fortress development takes already. So why do you keep asking for features that would make the development take drastically longer? Which is what parts of the community keep doing, and it just kind of makes me roll my eyes a little bit. It's like when people are like, Dwarf Fortress is taking too long. Release it on Steam already. Put it in early access. Also, why haven't you added multiplayer? It's like, eh? What? Huh? Excuse me? What are you smoking? Because I don't want any of it. That sounds dangerous. Normally I would ask, what are you smoking and can I have some? It's like, Lost Flame has multi-tile creatures, but the amount of simulation in Lost Flame is like null. It's basic enemy AI with some stats. It's not keeping track of the temperature of their eyelids. What is that? Is that a fairy? Hey, it's a fairy. So chat, the total kill count for today on YouTube, I think about 15 subscribers I lost because of that video. I'll know tomorrow. I'm mostly estimating. But I think it's about 15. Worth it? I don't know. How you been, by the way, Jack Nick? How's things, man? Minestrone? Ooh, sounds tasty. Also, chat, 2 on the nose. I'm not sure. How's the fort going? This fort's going all right. This fort is part of the Plank of Nations, which is in the same world as the Crimson Pulley stuff that I did for quite a while. Just at the far corner of the world instead of like in the main central portion of the world. That sentence took me about a second to figure out what you meant, shirtless chef. I was like, what does that mean? Also, hello. Good to see you. Also, this is a very amusing tweet to me, or a very amusing screenshot. Overpriced, lack of content. I'm 10 hours in and I'm super addicted. I can't even believe this isn't a finished game. There's so much content. People who play video games are silly. But yeah, I would say Fortress is going all right. We're trying to keep up with bedrooms and build this big old tower. Although this construction is taking way longer than I wanted it to. That's a review of the game Death Trash, by the way. At least I assume it's on Death Trash because the dev of Death Trash tweeted it out. Oops. God dang it, why do I keep hitting the wrong button? I'm not gonna lie, I can't wait until I can be one of those guys on Dwarf Fortress that just has like 40,000 hours on the game and I can be like, it's aight. It's a living. Pays my bills. It's like, how do you review Dwarf Fortress? Best game I've ever played. Love this game. Played it for years. Me, my review. It's fine. It's my job. Ain't much, but it's honest work. Would also be a good comment. I didn't. Okay, I keep seeing phthalate blocks and thinking that that's what I'm placing. Why didn't they finish these? Come on. Here come all the dwarves in a few seconds. It's a bunch of E's in there. I should build more thrones. And tables in this temple. Those are diorite. I want those. At least try and match the colors, even if it's just brown. After the siege lasted 4 seasons, I thought your 3 squads was sufficient to kill them. Well, I was very wrong. Oh, no. Your squads need to be pretty geared up, but it sounds like you lost. Rest in peace, I'll say. Like 50 pairs of copper leggings. Everybody in this fortress gets copper leggings. $107 cloth. Okay, so I've got 81 spider silk. Fort was eliminated in the last 30 minutes. F's for the fort. Is it sky or water? It might be ice, actually, but this stuff, if this is what you're talking about, this is grass from magical biomes, because this is a magical good biome. But this is sky. This is open space. I describe this as like, you know when you play like a game on the PS2 and the draw distance was shit? It's like that. It's like playing Silent Hill. So this is 1Z level above ground, so you can kind of see what's there, but not quite. That's the ground level. That's now 1 level above ground. That's ground level. So this is open space, essentially. So as you move up, everything fades off into the distance, and as you go down, everything fades back into existence. Hopefully that helps, Punchwort. Also, thanks for the follow, like an hour ago. All right. The Diamonds of Flesh would like to reside in Threatdweller. No, thank you. I've got enough elves in my fort. I don't need more. I already got 2, and one of them's my fucking mayor. Who feels empathy when being yelled at by an unhappy citizen? Imagine being an elf and in charge, and everybody just gets to go yell at an elf all the time. Well, that's where all those E's were. The Great Mountain Halls is a forgotten beast parchment scroll. The rollers are made of termite. Tetrahedrite, not termite. Written on the items is a guide entitled The Great Mountain Halls, authored by Unib Hutt. Bridged. It concerns the hillocks of tender posts. Telling me... Oh, that's a dwarf. Never mind. I was going to say, you're telling me that there's an... Hold on a second. Chat room? These elves are all naked. The dwarf is fully clothed. But these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 elves with them are all naked. Why? Why are they all naked? In fact, they've got sand on their feet. What are you, 12, bastard? Hair up? Okay. There we go. Au natural, totally. But anyway, this elf has a book called Unknown Author, which concerns of a 15-page essay entitled Unknown Author. It is authored by Ath. Dude, it concerns die shields in the early summer of 101. And the writing is full of force. Prose is passable. What else do we have? Discovering the Forest Retreat is a granite-bound codex. Written portion consists of a 25-page essay entitled Discovering the Forest Retreat, authored by Cici Boulderroot, and it concerns the studies of the elf Cici Boulderroot in Guile Sieged in order to be with the master in midwinter of 88. The writing is completely serious, and overall, it's not awful, but not very good either. How do I have an elf mayor? They are a member of a performance troupe that after a year asked to join as a full citizen, and I said, sure, and then they've got elected mayor. Well, anyway, goodbye, guys. Yeah, my mayor is Olova, this person. They're currently holding a conglomerate boulder. And she has the appearance of somebody that is 373 years old and is one of the first of her kind. Who had clothes on when they arrived, by the way. Unlike that crew of, like, elven nudists. Is this a tile set? Yeah. If you would like it, there's a link to it. It's a modified, heavily modified version of Krug Smash's tile set. Who's a popular YouTube personality. Not unlike myself. Uh-oh. Giant cave spider. Giant cave spiders, by the way, the scariest creatures in Dwarf Fortress. This one's very damaged. Left first leg is mangled beyond recognition. Her left fourth leg is mangled beyond recognition. His left third foot is mangled beyond recognition, and his chitin is brown. Terrifying. I mean, that's got nothing to do with it. The vast majority of elven performance troops that show up wear elven-sized clothes. And also, dwarves and elves can wear the same size clothes because their bodies are the same size. Right, well, here it come. Also, Child is now finally... Oh man, please. Do what I think you're doing. Giant cave spider. Please. Do what I think you're doing. Ha! Got him! We have, a trapped giant cave spider. How mean do I be to my dwarves? That's kind of an open question, chat. How mean do I be to my dwarves? Because we just caught a giant cave spider in a cage. And the reason I ask how mean do I be to my dwarves is I could just put this thing behind a wall up here or something and just have, like, infinite free silk forever. if I put it in the right place. I could also put it in front of a puppy dog. Oh. Looks like my dwarves found some troglodytes. S for the poor trogs. Bang! Troglodytes? What troglodytes? I don't see no troglodytes. The nobility should bear the burden. We don't really have any nobility in the fortress right now, just a mayor. Hey, that child finally gained everything that they needed. We got copper bars, cave spider silk cloth, copper bars, llama wool cloth. Hey, that was what we needed. Conglomerate blocks is trillium, cut moss, opals, and stray calf bone. Not the puppy? I don't have any I do have a cat in the fort. Don't actually have any puppies right now, so I couldn't actually use a puppy even if I wanted to. I love it when I get a email about a thing and they don't actually include I love it when I get an email about a product and they don't actually include a link to the product. No, not Raid Shadow Legends. They're very good about linking to Raid Shadow Legends. Like literally, when you get Raid Shadow Legends invites, you know it's Raid Shadow Legends. Also, this was a product, not a video game. Anyway, Cave Spider daycare to train the tots to dodge. Good luck keeping the toddlers there. They probably just run away and cry. Lawler, the dwarven child, has created a rounded yakbone greaves and claims it is an heirloom in the name of the family ancestor Moral Wendigo. Mirror owned. Wendigo's their mum, I think. 24,360 Zethal. Yearburns is the name of it. This is a rounded yakbone greaves. All craftsmanship is of the highest quality. It is studded with copper and decorated with llama wool. On the item is an image of Inul Archboot, the dwarf. Archboot, that's a good name. Archboot, the dwarf. And Senra Cactus yells the rock. In Yakbone. Senor Cactus yells is striking down Archboot. F's for Archboot. The artwork relates to the killing of the dwarf Inul Archboot by the rock Senor Cactus yells in Heliotrope Point in 112. On the item is an image of trillion cut gems in conglomerate. On the item is an image of a tetrahedral tetrahedron in moss opal. On the item is an image of herd wheat in cave spider silk. On the item is an image of 2 ginkgo trees in copper. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'll figure out what I'm going to do with that cave spider. We'll figure it out. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do with that cave spider. I mean, ideally, I think you use it on creatures that won't get upset at you or tantrum. I guess I could probably find some chained up crundles or something. But I'll have to build that on another day, probably. If you can't tell, building a big old rampy ceiling that's going to slowly go up to the point like this. Problem is it's going to take 10,000 years. As the genie once said. F's for Robin Williams. A couple years late, but still. And boom. Trying to figure out what game to play this evening, chat. I kind of feel like playing some Jupiter Hell, which is weird, but I kind of feel like playing some Jupiter Hell. How do you guys feel about maybe a run or two of Angel of Confidence in Jupiter Hell? That or Angel of Vampirism or something. It's almost as if I enjoy playing Jupiter Hell. Yeah, weird, right? Almost like that, yeah. What about Rift Wizard? I don't enjoy playing Rift Wizard. Unlike Jupiter Hell, I don't actually enjoy Rift Wizard, which is why I haven't played Rift Wizard in a while. I love the concept of it. It just makes my brain hurt. And you don't have speakers on your desktop? Oh no, this seems like a poor design decision on your part. But you have a good night. I'll be on tomorrow. Same time, same channel. I'll also probably still be on for another 3 hours, give or take. We've only been live for 9 hours, so I'll let the dwarves finish this top bit. Wait, what? Did I not? Whoops. Jupiter Hell is a traditional roguelike, yeah. Jupiter Hell is the spiritual successor to Doom the roguelike, which is a Doom fan game, which is free. Yeah, Jupiter Hell is this. It's currently $18. It's the deepest sale it's ever had, this thing. It's a top-down, turn-based, procedurally generated dungeon crawler. Which is another game, actually, that whenever major patches come out for this game, the dev usually pops into chat and we talk for like 6 hours about video games. That's why I don't use them with my computer. I don't mind them on phones, but my current headset has a cable because my phone has a headphone jack. Yeah, if you like Doom the roguelike, this is like mechanically different. It's quite different from Doom the roguelike, but if you like Doom the roguelike, it's pretty fucking fun. Also, if you enjoyed Doom the roguelike, it's this is something that I tell people quite frequently, so don't take it as that you have to spend money. I recommend buying Jupiter Hell at some point just to support the dev if you got a lot of fun out of Doom the roguelike, because, you know, support people who made games for free. And it's not like Doom the roguelike ever paid its bills. Dude, thanks for gifting on a sub. How's things been? That's the first gifted sub of the day. Hell yeah! Feel free to link your music on Spotify. If you want. More troglodytes running into my fort. They're just gonna keep doing that, I think. Also in the self-promote section on Discord. But hell yeah, dude. It's already on Bandcamp, yeah? That's just kind of an assumption statement, but... What are you upset about, Dwarf? Want to practice a craft? Frustrated at being unable to acquire something. Well, if you want to practice a craft, here, let me give you a craft. Go weave. You need to advertise. 8 monthly listeners? Yep. Yeah, you do. There you go. How's the fort going? This fort's a little weird. Well, not weird, but this fort's a strange design for me. Like this big square Borg cube thing with weird shapes inside of it. It's kind of small because building on it's taking forever. But it kind of goes down to here where there's this open lava hole. We've got magma forges down here, which is pretty neat. But my long-term goal for this fort is I want to convince the queen of this faction to move into this fortress so I can squish her or drop her into lava or something equally violent, because I want to dethrone the queen. The queen is a Gelder, and all of the gods of this faction are female gods that worship misery and torture. And there's very few male dwarves in this faction, which is actually kind of weird. So as far as I'm concerned, it's a cult. So I'm trying to oust the leadership to hopefully reinvigorate this faction. But you know, it's been a good time so far. Being a good time so far. You love this game? I mean, I'm probably overthinking it way too much, but... Oh, also, different factions have different types of clothing that their faction knows how to make based on, like, various parameters. This faction only knows how to make robes and dresses. They don't know how to make pants, which I think is really funny. Like, they can't make trousers. They can make leggings, but they can't make trousers. Which is very funny to me. So yeah, no, they are truly a cult. So I'm trying to oust the leadership. Oh, also my mayor is an elf. So, who also specifically, I'm pretty sure, dreams of bathing the world in chaos. So, you know, I should be fine. Remove cult. Replace with bigger, better cult. Dwarf Fortress. It's a video game. Everyone needs a dream? Yeah. Some people it's bathing the world in chaos. Some people it's getting married and having babies. Some people it's, I don't know, being Dwayne The Rock Johnson. We all need a goal. We all need a hobby. Some people just stack bodies in their walls, you know? It's perfectly normal. Takes a cult to know a cult? Says you. I'll have you know, I haven't been in a cult since I actively went to a Catholic church. That's probably going to offend somebody. Apologies in advance. I don't mean it. I just really mean it. You're partial to staying alive? That's a pretty good thing to stand for, frankly. I'm partial to simply hiding from my brain. My brain is dangerous. Although there was one time me and my friend got really drunk and walked into the Church of Scientology in Vancouver and asked for pamphlets. That's a weirdly hazy day. I didn't sign anything, but man, that was a weirdly hazy day. Surprised you made it out of that one. One of the weirder situations I've gotten into in my life, I'll be honest. Maybe not the weirdest, but it was up there. It was up there. Yeah, I did go to church once. You still remember it because you got sick instantly, probably because of the incense. Oh, yeah, that would do it. You'd like to think it was a different reason. Well, I mean, I was Lutheran for most of my life, but I went to a Catholic church for a brief period of time, and my God! That place was strange. That and, you know, like researching random cults online is always fun. We're almost out of booze. Make more. These are new? Yeah, so I got my audience to draw follower emotes, which all had to be drawn in MS Paint, have white backgrounds, look terrible, air quotes, and be mimicked versions of my other emotes. So thus we ended up with these lovely chaps. I literally was just like, guys, draw bad emotes for me. Chat delivered. You know, sometimes you just gotta ask. It's a very good selection, yeah, right? Crypt Burr. The best part about the beer emote is the BER exclamation point. Burr! It's like that's what you say when you've had too much. Holy shit, that's a lot of random dead things. It's like all my other, like I'm one of those people who's like, I try too hard to make sure that all my emotes look really nice. So it's kind of funny having like all my follower emotes just be like the polar fucking opposite, you know? It's like I'm pretty specific about my emails, my emotes looking really, really good. And I'm very happy with all of my emotes. But the follower emotes, I took forever to become accessible on my channel. Like they took like an extra 4 months to make mine usable when everybody else got theirs like ages before I did. And I took that as an opportunity to be like, well, I can't pay my artist anymore because of sanctions, because he's in Russia. So instead of like paying my artist for new art, I was like, chat, make me art. And chat did a good job. You didn't burst into flames last time you were in church? Now that is the truly most shocking thing I've heard in a while. Is that you didn't burst into flames the last time you were in church. Well, I really like Crypt Sappy as well, which FG drew. You did a good job on that one. Almost does a better job looking happy than Crypt Yay. Or Crypt Happy, that one. There goes the giant. Goodbye, giant. Into the lava. Swim with the dead. You really like that one? I think that one's probably the most popular one. I have a couple extras that other people drew as well, and I kind of want to swap them out at some point, but people like them all so much I'm kind of scared to swap them out, so just waiting a little bit. Get 'em, boys. Drothless 2? Splat. These guys are going to have so many kills against troglodytes, it's going to be a little bit ridiculous. Vaguely, Armor. How have you been? How do I view my top viewed emotes? Twitch stats. Twitch's back-end stats are pretty easy to parse. You just have to go look. It's in your dashboard. It's in my dashboard, I guess. Guess which is my most popular and most used emote. Just chat, guess. What do you think is my most used emote? It's a very easy answer. We've had better months. I know that feeling. Oh, shit. Another artifact. Crypt beard. Duh. Oh, no. Let his ick was seen being passed to a thief. Okay. By who? I mean, it wasn't this poet. Hey, who reported it, though? Hmm. Green Forge 1. Why would Green Forge 1 be a good name? I don't get it. What, for Hope July being a better month? I mean, we've only just started with July. Not off to a great start. Oh, is it a good game? Is it? Are you? You mean Gene? You're talking about Mutagen, Gene Forge 1? Not Gene? Gene? The Spiderweb software game? Yeah, Spiderweb software games are great. Although the dev that makes these games is a little bit of a nutcase, but... Yeah, no, these games use a lot of recycled assets, but they are... He's been making them literally since 1994. He's one guy who's just been making weird classical or traditional RPG games since, like, the early 2000s. Like, these are the games he was making in, like, the early 2000s. The original Gene Forge. But yeah, no, he's kind of a legend in the industry in a way. Also, kind of a crazy blogger. But I don't know. They're good games. It's free on Epic? Really? Huh. That's good for him. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend reading his blog. He has some really shitty takes about, like, the death of indie game development and stuff. I think he just needs to make his games look flashy and invest in better marketing, or he's going to be stuck in his niche for all eternity. Be like if I complained that I wasn't bigger because more people should just play Dwarf Fortress. Sort of, if that makes sense. Which obviously I should be, and they should, but, you know. I also am kind of aware that I'm locked in my niche because it's the niche I've built for myself. It's up to you to get out of that niche. But anyway, yeah. No, I mean, he has some really weird takes on his blog, but his games are good. I've only ever played the Avarium games, but yeah, I would grab it if it's free on Epic. Because that is a good price to pay. Free is a good price to pay. But spring has arrived. Let's go back to following this artifact-making dwarf. Do I want to ask? Farmer? How old is this fort? Fuck. Maybe 5 years. Like 3 stream sessions, maybe? 5 years is like being generous, too. I don't know exactly, because I can't remember what year I founded it. Because I've done, like, a fort over here. This fort was mine. Umber Bulwark. This fort was mine, which was Union Theater. This fortress was also mine, which was Theater Vaults. This fortress was also mine, which is Angel Razor. This fortress dug too deep and also killed, like, 100 angels or something. This fortress, Hotbeards, did real well as well. This was another one of my forts, Mothfall, which also did real well.
This is madness. Madness. This.
Haro, you're doing a D&D? I hope it's a good D&D. Hi, Hobo. Yeet. For those of you who are like, holy shit, old subs, look at Hobo's sub badge. As someone who's been around a while. But hey, man. Hope you're doing well. Man, empty cages, eh? The problem is I fill up these cage traps and then they just, like, get packed almost immediately. Then I have to do it again. It's like, come on. I'm gonna make an animal stockpile up here somewhere. Lorban the Miner has created Ebel Meban, Corvush, a conglomerate quern, and claims it is an heirloom in the name of the family ancestor Aerith Mountain Quests. It's worth 9,600. This is a conglomerate quern. All Crastor ship is of the highest quality. It is encrusted with cushioned conglomerate cabochons and studded with copper and encircled with bands of oval-cut pyrites. On the item is an image of Tekkud, paper, drives, the dwarf, and the Glumwater yak leather citrine. Tekkud is raising Glumwater. The artwork relates to the creation of Glumwater in Threatdweller by the dwarf Tekkud in the early autumn of 214. Need to find Glumwater. That thing. That thing was stolen. I need to find it. Fortunate quern of events. You could say that. But chat room, I've been streaming for 9 hours, which means I've been or just over 9 hours, which means I've streamed around, getting close to 8 hours of Dwarf Fort, maybe even a little longer. I think I'm going to save the fortress here. And we'll probably pick it up tomorrow. This is probably what the fort I'll play tomorrow. I'm going to go play Jupiter Hell. I'm going to go do a couple challenge runs because I want to play some Jupiter Hell. So if you're sticking around, that's rad. If not, that's fine too. Regardless, though, today's been fun. It has been. Explosions. Hi, Wasp. But if you're sticking around, if I could get a round of beers, that'd be fantastic. We're going to go do a challenge run or two. And probably die horribly. I don't have an explosion sound effect. The only explosion sound effect is the one where you throw money at me.